Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to X's Per Show. I'm Nico.
And I'm TK.
That makes me Tori.
Hey everyone, it's Jonah.
And that makes me your producer, KEVO. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But today we're talking Snatch Game.
Ooh.
Oh, we are talking all the best, most memorable Snatch Games, because we just had a pretty memorable Snatch Game over in UK Season 7, Episode 7, right? That almost lucky Vegas style. And so it got us thinking about some of the best Snatch Games ever. It got us thinking about what we love about a good Snatch Game. I want to start with I want to know who you would do for Snatch Game, just to get us rolling, because I have always said my Snatch Game character would be Gwen Stefani now, but I don't think I could talk that much about prayer apps, and so I'm gonna have to find a new one. But I don't know, I think your Snatch Game character has to be someone that you're really prepared to do a good version of. Those who know me know I love to do a good Cher impression, and it's a good Cher impression because it's a singing Cher. Maybe for all I know, the better Cher impression is a piece of furniture. But TK, who would you Snatchify yourself with?
You know who I'd do.
Please remind me, because we're on air and they don't.
Tori Amos.
I love it. I think that's super great.
It's the person I know the best. You know, I have the Tabitha Johansson, Bob's Burgers character to fall back on. Yeah, I mean, I've got all I need to at least get me to safe.
Tori, I gotta know, what's your Tori story? Because evidently I don't think you'd Amos, but I don't think you'd Amiss either.
Oh, I heard Tori Anus, and so I was like, good for you. I don't know. I don't think she's known.
I mean, if someone's doing Cher, I probably could make it Tori Anus and be fine. So
I do not know her rants.
The person that I know the most about and would be able to pull amazing, crazy factoids about is Queen Victoria, but I don't think that that's the right choice because I don't think RuPaul cares that much. If I was talented, I'd go for Lucille Ball. I'm shocked we haven't had one yet. Otherwise,
someone did try to do Lucille Ball, but specifically over on Secret Celebrity Drag Race Season 1, and it was okay.
Yeah. She's got a lot of stuff that you could really do some good riffs on and things, but it depends on your charisma. And I don't know if I got that. So I'd probably just run back to, there's got to be some celebrity character that's a really annoying Jersey receptionist, or can be turned into a really annoying Jersey receptionist, and that's really where my comedy lies.
Fran, do your Fran.
Hello, Mr. Sheffield. Can I help you?
Well,
oh my God.
Now I think you should be a transformer of Queen Victoria, Crown Victoria. And I think that would be
Crown Vic
to protect the dolls.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. That's so
you
brilliant.
could run a Victor Victoria too. That'd be really fun.
Oh my God, half Raquel Welch, half Julie Andrews. Jonah, who is the secret baby inside you? What's your Snatch baby?
The safe answer is Jessica Walter, the late great. Very easy to fall back on a mean old drunk lady. That's always a classic. I think it's. I am very shocked in 16 seasons nobody's done her on across any franchise. She's very funny, and I imagine her brand of humor would make Ru piss herself. Not for any other reason other than that RuPaul's just old and lose control of her bladder all the time. But the safe answer is I would do David Lynch, but I would specifically do David Lynch as the weatherman.
Well,
I love that. Was really funny, but I don't care about the weather over there. But now for the weather, and that's literally all I would do. I would just make weather jokes.
Oh my God, that is. I would really love it if you also pointed to your Twin Peaks. Sorry, I know that joke was a bit of a Mulholland Drive to get to it. But
Stop
thank you all for
fire for these.
But I say thank you all for firewalking with me on that punchline, and you beat me to it. You're the best.
Oh, look at you,
KEVO. I gotta know. Where are we going? Who are we doing? How is it happening?
Well, I've never really thought about it before. Today I'm doing a casual Dylan O'Brien by wearing my Styles gear, so that's fun. But the thing that really flashed in my brain when you asked, and as I've been thinking as everyone went down the line, is Burholz burr holes.
Oh my god!
I'll probably start thinking about an Ellen Pompeo as Dr. Meredith Grey. I think that would be
Meredith Gay.
fantastic
Meredith
Snatch
Gay.
Game if you can think of the right references or jokes to make.
And if you could like somehow have like a pre-recorded tape to hit play on so that it's an overdub of your thoughts instead, that would be guys.
Oh my god, just having a tape that has Where Does the Good Go play.
Oh my god.
Or,
Everyone knows we're in over our head.
Go wrong.
How to Save a Life or Chasing Cars. Yeah, I'll just have it, There you go.
Well, this is the moment, truly transformational. My final days. I love this. Now let's talk about some Snatch Games that actually happened. We polled our team and said, what are some Snatch Games that really stick in your brains? And I want to start with the fact that almost everybody had some version of 4, 5, 6, 7 was in there too. I had 10, 13, and 15 because they're memorable, but not in the way you think. And so I want to kind of start with, for me, my question to you is what makes a great Snatch Game? Because we didn't say what's your favorite Snatch performance, because like a lot of my favorite performances came from seasons that I don't enjoy the Snatch Game. Like I, as an enormous Shea Coulee super stan, genuinely think that her Flava Flav is like actually good comedy. Like it is genuinely a strong impersonation. Rich Little would have to be like, nah, she's Rich Big. So like, I want to know what you guys think make a good Snatch Game, other than this fucking cover, Kevo. This is some, God, absolutely, seriously. This cover would show up on my life on the D list and insult Kathy Griffin. So, tell me.
It doesn't insult Kathy Griffin.
Oh, tell me, guys, what Snatch is your game?
I think you need at least 4 people who are doing well. You can get by on 3 for a good one. I think you need 4 for a great, memorable one. You need 4 people who are doing well. You need at least 2 of them. Really, hopefully, it's that 4 or more who can acknowledge other characters are in the room being funny. You don't necessarily have to go as far for me as like fully having riffs together, but there are times where like, even I might kind of point to Shea with this one a little bit, but I'm off with that because she does acknowledge the other people in the room. But like, there are some really great ones that are laser focused on Rue, and of course that makes sense. Make Rue laugh is the name of the game, and that's how you survive and maybe get to the top. But for me, an audience member, it feels weird when somebody is killing it, but like they're in a box and it just stares directly at Rue and nobody else. So I think those are some really good major elements. I mean, of course, like from there's the elements of who you pick and why and all that. And we have some good insight on that. But once you have a great character, I think seeing that mix of a bunch of good ones on stage together and that they can organically behave as though they're in a room together, I think is a really important basis for what's going to make for a great game.
Speaking of unbelievably talented characters in a room together, Tori, tell me, what brings Snatch Game to the S+ Snatch Game?
I think for me, it's about seeing Rue have an extreme reaction either way. I like seeing Rue be like, oh my God, I'm having such a stupid amount of good time with a couple of these people. And I also do enjoy watching RuPaul's dreams shatter in front of her very eyes as she realizes some of these gals ain't got nothing. And I like both. So like, while I'm with TK that you do need at least 4, maybe 3 if there's only 7 of them up there, doing quite well, I think you also do need 2 people to be bombing in an exaggerated big way. Not the quiet dying way like Alyssa Edwards did for Katy Perry. That was just sad and unfortunate. I'm talking Snooki Smush Smush. I'm talking like the big Selena's titties as the Virgin Mary, just swinging so big, so wide, and just can't keep chopping at it.
Liam Gallagher this week.
A little bit love Lexi with the oh fuck, oh geez. Oh
Yeah.
god.
Yes.
I was so mad when that one aired. Now I think I've come around to being like, she flopped in character, which made it funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
If she
Yeah.
specifically, as Gilbert Gottfried, was flopping, which I think ultimately wrapped around to it being genius and very funny.
Yes.
Oh.
Because I did a little, let me just start from the very beginning and started with seasons 2 and 3s and was just like, oh, it's rough to watch the one in season 2 because they have no idea what's coming and no one has any idea what this is going to be. And in season 3, you can start to get the vibes, but like you really watching some of these girls figure it out live is rough, but fun, interesting, kind of. And there's a lot more like talking heads telling you about what Snatch Game is supposed to be. Like in the very first one, they're like, it's not just a wig and a lip, honey. It's about embodying the character.
I love that take because that is something that I often feel like, and not to bring it to like a theatrical place, but like when you're in the original cast, you're creating it. When you are in a revival cast, you are responding and recreating it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like we've a little bit lost the recreation here. I somehow think we've gone in reverse on Snatch Game, where people are just like, I'm going to create my own version of the person, and like, there's a little bit less reference at times. But
Are we finding that might be because imitation is fewer drag queens game at this point? That Drag Race itself has elevated the lip sync as the primary drag queen performance, that imitation has fallen to the wayside?
well, and I think I would love to kick it to Jonah. I think for me, it's that Rue is the one they're trying to impress instead of humor being the bar. Like, they used to try to be funny. Now they just want to be funny to Rue. And I feel like, Jonah, you were the first person to really point that out to me.
Yes. I think back to season 16 contestant and person I'd hope to be my friend one day, Dawn, talking about that younger drag queens don't really do impressions anymore, mostly because it's not really required to get a drag gig. That was a lot of bread and butter for a lot of queens of the people who paved the way for us to even have this show, because it's what the people were drawn to. A lot of drag queens, in my mind, were performers. We're theater performers. Drag is a theater performance. And so a lot of lip syncing, a lot of character illusion, a lot of character imitation was really a part of this culture. And especially as it was for a very long time, a very niche subculture of queer culture. Drag was nowhere near mainstream. Drag became mainstream, I think, from season 6 onward. Season 4 and 5, for the time that they were very popular. But season 6 is the season that genuinely did put the show on the map, and it's, drag isn't just niche anymore. There are multiple people doing the different kinds of drag, and when you have a fantastic season like 6, I think is where we start to move towards mainstream, which is fine. We have people who are Generation Rue, people who grew up watching the show, inspired by these queens, saying, that's what I want to do. I want to be a drag queen. And a lot of the younger queens don't always, some of them don't always come up with the same stepping stones and backstory that a lot of queens from much earlier seasons do, talking about how they had to fight a lot in the nightclubs, how they kind of had to pay respects to the older queens that were there, how they had to be given a lucky shot. Now, if you really want to do drag, you just do it in your bedroom. You can buy a wig, you can get makeup, and you can make an outfit, or you can buy an outfit, and you can just do it at home. There is no barrier to be posting and being a drag queen anymore.
I love that.
So all that long-windedness to say, yes, I think part of the problem as well is I always want to say, listen to the host of the show. If the host of the show, the person you are trying to impress, F us, F everybody else at home, F everything, the person who's in the show is telling you, do this, I do say listen to them. But what Rue finds funny sometimes is a little hee-haw grandma humor, which isn't the end of the world, but sometimes it is a little and I do not chagrin or blame this queen for doing this, but I think of UK season 3, Scarlet Harlot doing Macaulay Culkin, and the entire joke being, and that was just the entire thing, and it was because out of drag, Scarlet Harlot kind of looks like Macaulay Culkin, and so not her fault. Rue was pissing herself at laughter with it, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was like a good Snatch Game performance. For my money, and I'm going to say something that sounds like an oxymoron, I need a grounded in reality exaggeration of somebody. I need like you to, and I like a great example I want to give is Jujubee in All Stars 6, Eartha Kitt, and is that exactly how Eartha Kitt acts? No, it is a characterization of Eartha Kitt. But the idea, we can imagine Eartha Kitt acting this way. We can imagine this is how she's performing, how she would go as, All Stars 5. Thank you, Kevy. It's the sensible 74 degrees. Like,
you guys don't understand. We started dating him right around this quote, or shortly. It happened shortly after. It was all he said for like 6 months.
Because it's a good little earworm. It's a good vocal stem. But I and Shay next to NICO was talking about Shay's performance of Flavor Flav. This is, in my mind, an exaggerated, grounded reality. This is, what if Flavor Flav was progressive in a way, and then you still make it funny. Like, it's not too far from the truth, but it is still what drag is at the end of the day, which is exaggeration. In my brain, the art form of drag is just is illusion and exaggeration. So I love when people can tap into that for their Snatch Games. I personally prefer if it feels akin to, like, this is just the exaggerated version of this person, but it still feels real. That's when I enjoy a Snatch Game the most. I sometimes just get a little like, because I think some people are trying to think too far outside the box, and then there are people who just they're not really playing the character that they say they are. And we moved so far past what Snatch Game, what you were saying, Tori, that they had no idea what it was, and for a little bit it was this idea of like, is it still an illusion? Oh, we have to be funny. Like, they didn't realize that, like, choosing pink, Morgan McMichael choosing pink, pink's not funny. I mean, nowadays you could probably do pink because you could just swing in from somewhere from the rafters like through a cannon, like a cannonball. But obviously we've moved so far past this idea of like, you have to be grounded in who your character is. People are making up characters, people just doing whatever they want, and Snatch Game no longer feels the same, which is fine. As with everything should evolve. But I need the show and Rue to stop saying, well, this is a character impersonation challenge, when it's not. It's make Rue laugh. The prompt is just make Rue laugh, which is fine. But don't tell me that we're going to reward people for doing the perfect Reba when, they did a serviceable Reba. Like, they were still funny. We'll get to it, but like, I thought Katrin Phelan's performance this week as Bonnie Tyler was great. I thought it was very funny. It didn't feel like a Bonnie Tyler impression. It felt like a very funny performance to me, that you just saying, I'm Bonnie Tyler.
What you got, Kevo?
I really want to build on what Jonah was saying about a lot of it is about making Rue laugh, because it's the thing I talk about a lot with this being sort of like sport. And sorry, wasn't prepared to have it kicked to me that quick. I was distracted by my own graphics. We talk a lot about the things that RuPaul's Drag Race are, and the fact that it is, in fact, RuPaul's Drag Race, and that she has a rubric of girls that she is trying to mold, essentially. And I feel like not being prepared for Snatch Game is the same as when we say, you need to be better versed in sewing, you need to be prepared to dance, you need to be prepared to sing, And I really agree with what Jonah also touched on, which is we need to refine how much of this is you're trying to channel an impression, or are you trying to break out and do something funny? This isn't the comedy challenge. This is Snatch Game. We have comedy challenges where you get up and you do a roast or something like that. But this is specifically, you get into a character, a pop culture figure, and you emulate that in some way. And it is perfectly fair to want to just do a slapstick, out of character, just off the wall, funny bit for it. But there is sort of an inconsistency on how important it is to make sure you are getting the character right. It's really tough when it comes to pop culture because there are things that I didn't watch Little Britain, so I don't know the Matt Lucas reference. There are references that you just don't know. If we hadn't been watching Eurovision that year that we were watching Global All-Stars, I wouldn't have known who one of those Snatch Games was.
Yeah.
So that's something that also makes it tricky. But it's what we were led to believe the challenge is. And if we are supposed to be following a rubric, then I think that is important for it to be sort of enforced across the board rather than it be so inconsistent.
And TK.
I think it's also of note that there was just a great clip going around of Nicole Byer on Monet Exchange's podcast talking about like how much it sucks that they don't give them Snatch Game lessons at all. And I agree. Like, for one thing, I think for all of our, like, I think they should do it because it's nice, because we want these girls to succeed, right? The show really tries to put that idea forth. And while I do think this is something maybe you could learn outside the show, I also think there would actually be real value in reminding everybody, including the audience, what the heart of great improv and impressions is, and what to do here. As Jonah pointed out, like, for some girls, this just like isn't even on their mind. And again, we make the argument a lot of times, like, well, it should be because you're going on the show. You should also learn to sew, maybe take a dance class. But eventually it starts to be too much. And there's too much to do in a day. And so, like, doing a little acting lesson might be cute. But, the other thing Nicole Byer said was really what you just need is to pick a person that you can name 3 things about. And the example that they use is like Gail, Oprah's friend. First off, that's thing number 1. Gail is Oprah's friend. And they go through and just talk 3 things about Gail. And then that way you can start to build a character just off of knowing what your 3 things are. And when you look at some classically bad Snatch Games, and I'm going to just touch a little bit of what happened this week, because I can immediately point to Bones didn't know 3 things about Liam Gallagher. Like, the idea alone that Liam Gallagher can't stop fighting anyone is in and of itself hilarious.
There should have been a breakaway bottle to throw.
But it is funnier that he can't stop getting in fights with his brother, who, she didn't mention once.
Wait, these are the Gallaghers that are fighting? Not the Watermelon Man and his brother?
No, but that would be even funnier.
These are Oasis.
Yeah, this is Oasis. Liam's always fighting, and Liam and Noel are always fighting.
And like,
that would be a great portmanteau.
They're the most scalped band of all time. They have famously broken up and walked off the stage, breaking up mid-concert, forcing the other one to take over their instrument. Like,
Matt, I also was like, Ian Gallagher. Oh, so like the original
brother.
The one where he fucks his brother.
Dark John Lennon to dark Paul McCartney.
Yeah, Oasis is just some song that girls don't like to hear. Like, that's 90% of what I know about Oasis.
Oasis is 4 perfect albums and a whole lot of bar fights.
Well.
So Bones just didn't have. I mean, maybe I imagine she knows 3 things about Liam Gallagher, but that performance did not indicate knowing 3 things about Liam Gallagher. I think that's just like, Snatch Game episodes tend to be boring because all we're here for is Snatch Game. And so what is the rest of the episode? It's a lot of padding. And to actually do a Snatch Game lesson that, again, could remind both the girls and the audience, what are we here to do? I would so much rather see that than see everybody go before Rue, who then, I'm going to get into that later in the episode. But that's just a reminder that, like, there's a way to play this. And
it's out there, though. There are 2 Snatch Game lessons. and they're both on Secret Celebrity Drag Race, where they talk them through how to create
There
a
you go.
character,
Yep.
how to perform it,
Yep.
how to execute it, what makes it good, what will work, what won't work, why you should be this person and not this other thing. Like, it's out there. And I just, sometimes as an educator, I can't understand how people can figure out how to jailbreak their phones, but can't figure out how to get the information that'll actually help them.
I mean, that's a fair point.
I can tell you these queens also don't know how to jailbreak their phones.
You know how to break their phones.
Some of them are like actual engineers, and not
Yeah.
the ones from Prometheus. So
I think it's
Some
one of those things that we keep coming back to, is that, like, I watched in season 5 after Snatch Game, Jinx stand forward and say, we now know that Snatch Game is coming, and they were only the ones to do it for the fourth time. They had seen it been done 3 times before, and they were like, you have to be aware that it's going to happen, and you have to pick something. And I sent KEVO this little thing, but it's got a clip of Alyssa in a confessional afterwards going, America's Next Drag Superstar is not going to go around the world being a comedian. She's going to go around the world being sickening. And I was like, well, that's Jinx and Bianca for the next 2 on you.
that did not age well.
No, it did not, but she's all right.
Congratulations,
And she's
Alyssa.
a global, so
She's
Yeah.
global,
you know,
baby.
6 of 1.
Sickening and a little comedic. She figured it out.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put it out there. Season 4. We had a few people put season 4 on that list. I want to know what worked the most for you about season 4. I'm going to put out there that, for my money, season 4 Snatch Game is one thing and one thing only. It is one of the things I knew about this show before I was ever into it. I have been doing my Cher impression since I am literally 7 years old, with a microphone in my purse next to my dinosaurs. And I love this Cher impression, down to the fact that it's actually kind of out of character. She would never insult the gig she's at. She would insult other things, but Cher is always very protective of her fans and people involved. She made it funny, despite it being not funny. Like, she made it out of character very good. And that, for me, is the standout. Somebody hit me with what you love about season 4 Snatch Game.
No, please go. I have not nice things to say about this.
This is one of those where I was excited to see someone who does imitation as their primary form of money making actually do Snatch Game. It's like watching Pandora Box do it. It's watching Chad do it. It's watching, people like Jimbo or Jinx go in and just be like, yeah, these are people who embody characters all the time. I was really excited to watch this. I enjoyed the Michelle Visage. It was pretty solid. The Jessica Simpson was great. And then I just enjoyed watching everybody else just slowly spiral into a Death Star. And it was great.
So I always think about way before he was a season regular judge, the hilarious Ross Matthews was actually a guest judge with Loretta Devine. And he brought up the amazing point that Chad had everything to lose doing this impression. If this impression did not go well, because Chad was a phenomenal and very, very well-known Cher impersonator, even for this time, like, people book Chad to beat Cher. Like, Chad goes and fills in for Cher for a lot of things.
Yeah. TV, can't afford Cher, you got Chad.
You got Chad. It's the same. I'm not joking about this. If you can't afford Britney or you don't want to invite Britney, you invite Derek Barry. I'm not joking about that. Derek is a quasi-celebrity. And the same thing goes with Chad Michaels.
I have to assume a lot of people subscribe to Derek Barry's feeds for a couple of days there this week.
Lee still makes bank as a Taylor Swift impersonator, too.
Yep. It also helps when John Travolta tries to hand you the award thinking you're Taylor Swift.
I'll do it for you. I'll do it.
No, Chad had everything to lose doing the Cher impression, because if it did not land, if it was not good and hilarious, then everything that you are billing yourself as and saying you are, it is not what it is meant to be. So Chad just, I also in character, like, just talking about the frustration of this Snatch Game. This Snatch Game is not good. It is just unfortunately not good. It is weird. I hate using this word. It is cringy. It is like my least favorite idea of Snatch Game, part of it is they also really didn't know what to do still. This season 4, like, you had an idea. Season 2 and 3 doesn't really give you an idea of what to do. This season actually gives you a really good idea of what not to do. Don't pick someone who's not really funny. Like, Lady Gaga and Beyonce, they're not funny people. Or they might be funny for different reasons. Diana Ross, like, this Snatch Game exemplifies where some people thought, oh, I have to do a celebrity impression. Well, I have this look ready. And a lot of them think of the look first rather than, can I make this person funny? The answer for a lot of them was no. But I really enjoyed Cher, and as the Willem fanboy that I am, I thought that Jessica Simpson was hysterical. It's also very funny because Willem was the only person to ever actually answer things as terms of match game, which I thought was hysterical.
How big is she? How funny is she? Line, and I was like, no one responded to this, not even Rue. That's crazy.
I'm done.
Kevo, how much do you remember about this? Was like, so we watched everything in a funny order. We vaguely, if you want to know the order we watched Drag Race, just see the release order of Star Wars films. It's those numbering systems.
Kind of.
So, talk to me, Kevo. Do you remember this Snatch Game particularly? And if not, I would love to get your take on season 5, which we all remember.
Genuinely not super vividly. Obviously, I, like everyone else, and like Matthew pointed out in the comments, Wagon Wheel Watusi comes out of my mouth at least once a month. And like Jonas said, it's so wild that this is while it was still getting up off the ground, and we are going to even just shortly enter seasons where they say, no, it's a staple. This one is definitely pretty memorable. And this one is so funny. Little Edie was so bold, and it was a reference that it's sort of what we're talking about, where Rue has her little stable of references, and this is something that could have gone over her head, could have slipped through cracks and missed Grandma, but it didn't. But it was amazing. This was the point where we were starting to get into it becoming part of the brand.
So, speaking of the brand, I really love what you pointed out with this became part of it, because this is maybe the one that becomes the cultural touch point.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, I have an emotional reaction when I drive past the Ciel Cruz rest stop. I as a Cuban man, and as white as I am, please, by all means, but like Ciel Cruz is like one of those staples of, if you had a grandma or an auntie, you listened to a lot of Ciel Cruz growing up, and I think very much about how this did not land for me. And those of you who maybe don't know, I have a super parasocial relationship with Janet Jackson, where I think we're secretly a superhero team named Riot and Dance Commander, and so I think we're best friends. And I completely am obsessed with Janet Jackson, and this Janet Jackson doesn't land for me. But what does land for me is this is an unbelievable group of 9 girls committing to the bit. Even when the bit is super wrong and they should not be chomping at it, they committed. And several of these women would go on to do infinitely better Snatch Games, some of them not better, but this was the first time I was like, I can, like, sequentially, because this is the first one I watched, but I could point and be like, Janet's speaking voice is softer than that, and she actually finishes more sentences on an uptick. And like, who am I? Because Coco is like literally one of the most famous Janet impersonators in the world. But like, I've listened to literally hundreds of hours of Janet Jackson speaking, and I would have some notes. I've listened to, I've read the Katy Perry Lady Gaga texts way more than I've listened to Kesha talk. The Kesha Lady Gaga talking about Katy Perry. Anyway, I even know this is not a great Kesha, but I love the commitment. That's what this one taught me. If you commit hard enough, it's Arkham Asylum all the way. TK, tell me, where did you land on season 5? Because this was one of your picks, right?
Was, but I dropped it. I dropped it in favor of other ones. I mean, Jinx. Come on. Jinx. Like, Jinx, 1,000 times Jinx. And unfortunately,
You owe me a soda.
There you go. You get to start counting backwards from like 1,000 or whatever. Jinx is the sun that is so bright that even though Alaska's Lady Bunny would win other Snatch games, it's so funny. It like almost to me doesn't matter. Like I actually, when I picked it, I forgot that Alaska is also in this and does a great job, and is really funny and really memorable because Jinx. I mean, like it just became the thing, and I never stopped thinking about it. So I mean, I love Grey Gardens. I also think like it was. I've got more comments about Rue's insistence that gays know gay culture, and then what isn't known by Rue and what gets left by the wayside. But it was really, for me and for the gay culture that I grew up with, knowing I'm 40, so I'm an older millennial gay, and like I know a lot of Gen X gays, and I know gays who are older than that. And Grey Gardens was like a big deal. Grey Gardens was a big part of gay culture, and yet Drag Race up to that point didn't do a lot of classic gay culture references.
Find me one Tales of the City reference. I'm waiting for Amistad Moffat.
So that Grey Gardens, like the movie based on the documentary, came out like 2006, 2004.
No, I think it's later than that.
It was definitely by the time I was a senior in college. That was 2009.
Was it a big theater girl?
2009. Yeah.
So like it was like I know that it re-entered the gay lexicon around that point in time. If you hadn't seen the documentary back when that came out.
But I will say that Jinx's is definitely the documentary. It is not it's not the movie. And anyway, I thought it was really brave to do that at that time. It really signaled that there was, there's a lot more to gay culture than current pop culture. And I mean, it's why I was really bummed that Celia Cruz was not a hit. Because again, that is gay culture for a lot of gay boys who are not part of, even for Black people, like the majority groups that we think of in the gay communities are usually white people and Black people. Latinos often get left by the side, and Asians often get left by the side. And they bring a lot of their own culture and references that sometimes people just don't know exist until somebody gets to do them. So I still thought it was a really brave choice. There were a bunch of, brave choices here, even maybe, Coco trying to have a Chad-esque success with Janet. But at the end of the day, it just all comes back to Edie for me. Jinx, she's just amazing.
Yeah, because I would say that Jinx is actually playing it pretty straight.
Yeah.
Tells you how kooky the character is, whereas like Manila bringing Imelda Marcos the preview in season 3 was an exaggeration of what we know. And so I think Little Edie's a really great way of showing how to play it super straight. I think Sasha Velour takes from that like canon when she shows up to Snatch Game. I think this is also one of those where, yes, Lady Bunny is excellent. I would even say that Tamar Braxton was really good, which is a shocking thing to say about Roxy Andrews when she's in a comedy challenge. So like there are some really good things here that would work really well, and I think it's just one of those things where it shows like that next slight evolution that allows for, okay, we can make weirder references, we can play it straighter. And then we see how the next time that doesn't work out, then all of a sudden everyone goes, okay, so we need to play it not straight and go absolutely ridiculous and left and like right field of something that we know.
Now I'm desperate for Lil Steve and Lil Edie, and we will get to that someday. Oh my God, I hate myself.
Eventually, it's just Little Edie's ice cream, and it's just like a carton and a magnifying glass next to it.
I'm saying portmanteaus.
right? Speaking of delicious, Jonah, hit me. When you think of season 5, what comes to mind?
Season 5 makes me think of a Snatch Game performance so bad the Queen single-handedly demolished the concept of immunity for everybody else going forward.
Yes.
And the fact that she was told to write an apology tweet, which was the funniest thing in the entire world, deleting the hashtag #apologize.
What's even funnier is she was told to do that months beforehand,
Yes.
and then somebody, I'm sure, had to call and be like, just a reminder, it's on tonight. You need to send out the tweet.
But this Snatch Game is so interesting because I think you have the 3 people doing well, and then everybody else is not really doing well. You have the people who like flop. You have like I'm going to give Lanesha a break. This is not her first language, like at all. And for people, for the queens that do come from Puerto Rico, her English wasn't like. We had people like Alexis Mateo, whose English is strong. We have Jada, whose English isn't like she speaks English, but you just still can't understand her because she has a very thick accent, regardless.
And having met her, she's a very lovely lady, and you can understand.
She's
her
very
in
lovely.
person.
We do love
They
her.
Absolutely did her no favors.
No. Then you had Lil Kenya Michael, who I actually don't think spoke any English at all. Like Willem talked about teaching Kenya English in the workroom. So like they don't always send when the queens from Puerto Rico audition, and this used to be a thing where like they would pick a single queen from Puerto Rico. Like Puerto Rico would pick a single queen to audition to then be on. That's why season 4 has 2, because Madame LeClaire said, "Fuck that, I'm auditioning," and she did. All that to wrap up. I'm giving Lanesha a pass because English is not her first language, and comedy in a language that's not your own is exceedingly difficult. Comedy barely translates across languages. So like I'm going to give a pass on that front to her not good Celia Cruz. But like I don't know, Kesha's not good, the Marilyn Monroe's not good. Maybe the Janet is close to being like how Janet acts, but I don't picture as Janet as the funny sibling.
No, that is Latoya or Jermaine.
Latoya.
Yeah.
Jade, Taylor Swift is also not someone funny. Again, these are like, you have people doing this idea of an illusion that they're confident in doing, but that doesn't mean it's a good Snatch Game. Just because you look like the person. I personally think great Snatch Games have you look nothing like the person. You don't have to look at the person. Just have somewhat an idea of a semblance. Go, yeah, that's that person. We're
Jonah,
already pretending.
You just said something negative about Taylor Swift. You said she's not funny. They're going to send you death threats.
Do Swifties think she's funny? I don't think they think she. That's why they don't love her because she's funny.
Let them comment below their problems. We could use the engagement.
In the comments, tell me your favorite like funny Taylor Swift moments, so I know.
Yeah, and so we can tell you how they're not funny.
KEVO, hit me. What do you think about season 6's Snatch Game? I think we all have some warm feelings here, and I would love to know if yours are warm enough to bake cookies.
I go first, so I get to be the first one to say it. Baloney.
Damn
it. Sometimes because so many of these become memeable, it is so wild to remember which ones were on the same season the further you get away from them sometimes. Because seeing Judge Judy and
Dame Judi Dench
on the same one, it's wild.
Yeah, I have to constantly remember that Bianca did not win her Snatch Game because of fucking Ben de la Creme, and who is excellent in this. And honestly, Adore is killing it. And as we were saying, you don't have to look like them. Like Adore was on the pit stop with Bianca, and obviously I watched those the most. But she's talking about how she was like, I just embodied from the throat up because I don't have those tits. And it's true. Like if you have the ability to just like carry it and believe hard enough, you can make it work, and it works out. And honestly, Courtney's Fran Drescher isn't terrible, but I'd have been interested to see Jocelyn's. I think Jocelyn would have been interesting.
Jocelyn's Teresa, I think, is very underrated of a Snatch Game performance. Comment.
They're
prostitution whores. Like, it was actually surprisingly well. This is such an interesting Snatch Game because the three people in the top, the people you mentioned, Tori, kind of like demolished in a way that nobody else ever had a chance. Like, the three of them knew how to do Snatch Game, knew how to like make it like, this is, all three of those performances kind of are top tier and could have won had the other two not been there.
They're little Johnny in.
I would even say that Darian's Paula Deen is also really good.
I don't know. She didn't say racist terms enough.
But like this Snatch Game has its own flops. Milk doing Julia Child. I don't. Maybe there's something there, but maybe not. Julia Child's not really a funny, like, again.
No, Julia Child is hysterical.
He need a chicken. You got to bring a chicken.
Something, anything.
And also, is this the only time we have two chefs? Julia Child and Paula Deen, and like, as somebody who spends like a third of his time watching cooking shows, as somebody who like basically worships at the chemistry altar of Rich Blaze, like, I think it's kind of shocking that you've got Kim is not a. I will say this: Kim Kardashian is not a hard choice for Snatch Game. Gia Gunn's just not an improv girly. I like Trinity doing Nikki. Nikki can be funny, but like, as we saw with Canada 2 with Cynthia Kiss, Rachel Zoe can be a funny character. I'm not actually familiar with Rachel Zoe, but I understand that she is there's a characterization that you can do that is funny of her. Laganja did not do that, but this was like the reason why I said season 6 was like put this on the map. This Snatch Game is like top tier. If you were not at the caliber of Jinx, Dela, or Bianca, you were never had any chance of even being in the top. If you were not going to try and meet where they were, which is hard. I think they each give an S+ performance. It's Jennifer Tilly being nominated for the Oscar. You know what I mean?
Speaking of which, TK, what do you think about this season's Snatch Game?
I mean, this is what I was talking about. There's 4 people who are absolutely very good. Obviously, Bianca, obviously Adore, obviously Bendela. And then I would say the 4th one is Darian as Paula Deen. But, I think you could argue that it's also Jocelyn. I think Jocelyn's remarks were funnier, but like they didn't flow well. Like, come in was like a funny response, but it just period, and then you can't do anything with it. Prostitution horses, also very funny, but you can't do anything with it. Darian's responses weren't necessarily funny, but they were really good improv and volleying with other people, which then takes me into the second thing that I said makes a really important Snatch Game, which is you have to acknowledge the other people in the room. Which
that's what makes Judi Dench. Oh my God, that's what makes oh my God, why am I Maggie Smith so funny?
Yeah. And even, God bless her, Trinity, like she really was trying by like, you can imagine that Nikki would not understand Dame Maggie Smith, and there was something funny there. She just didn't quite have it. But there was a lot of good energy in the room, even for the people who were bad. And so yeah, this is why this one is an iconic one, and one of my favorites.
I love this one. So great. Please, if anybody has further thoughts, just pivot back as we talk about season 7. But season 7's Snatch Game is one that I think is the first time the show is super aware of its success and how much is riding on the quality of your Snatch Game being elevated. I think that Lil Richard is an important Snatch Game character because, first of all, for those of you who don't know, Lil Richard has kind of a weird historical personal life with the queer community, and this is a tough conversation to have at times. And I think that there is a lot of, you know, when you look at this version of Adele, and, you know, it's almost like Meghan Trainor now and then. It's like, it's almost unrecognizable to the real person and the character as she transformed in real life. This Susie Orman impression is actually just that I'm Susie Orman from the internet that was existent at the time. But we were at a position where, for the first time, the spotlight was on these girls expected to be super celebrities instantly, and at least within the queer sphere. And I think these girls did a great job trying to live up to some really high extremes that were set by girls like Jinx and Roxy and Alaska and Dela and Adore. And there was a lot riding on this for their personal brands. I think every girl here did a great job. I don't love this Snatch Game, but I think every girl is worthy of praise here. Even if it feels like the exaggeration is in at sometimes I don't necessarily love the Adele. Like, I think it's not the kindest. You know, I got married to an Adele song, so like I have some feelings on this era of Adele.
It was a whole soundtrack, but yeah. Who's the top left again?
Milk.
Max.
Oh, Max, thank you.
Max is Sharon Needles.
Thank you. I thought it was Milk is Sharon Needles. But
No, it's Max.
It's
funny because
choice.
It's funny because those two impressions sound very similar. You know, they're both doing a really weird voice. I always say sausage trucks, but I imagine Max is the one saying it as Sharon Needles, but it is in fact Milk as...
No, it's hi, Boo Paul.
That's
why it looks like a character from Beetlejuice the animated series. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, where Lydia had all of the power. Speaking of all of the power, Tori, I want to know, how did you feel about this Snatch Game? Which girl had all the power? Which girl had her electricity shut off?
I think this didn't go the way that I think the top row suffered, and I think the bottom row was back heavy. The Little Richard is undeniable. I think Ginger really crushes. I think part of what excites RuPaul about Ginger's performance here is that she's giving very pretty, and she can kind of take anything and throw it at her. And this is the first time that RuPaul sees that truly. And so I think it's very exciting to watch that kind of magic suddenly bloom. Pearl is unrecognizable, and that's so fun to see. Yep.
You know, so Jonah and KEVO were there when I saw Kennedy, who had been the alternate that night at Drag Race Live and was not put on. And I didn't mean to have an emotional reaction at her as she was walking past me. And she was so kind. She was so loving, so warm, was so kind about me basically being a giant 6-year-old. But I mean, it was incredible. I love this moment for everything that happened on Drag Race. But how did you guys feel? Because I think I have some feelings about Kennedy that I need to work through.
I am of the opinion, holistically, this is like the most even-keeled, like, best Snatch Game. I think nobody does so horrendously bad in a way that's uncomfortable to watch. I think Max, Ginger Fierce, and Miss Fame are just not funny. Max and Jaden are trying. I have no idea exactly what Miss Fame was doing as Donatella, because it really wasn't like trying to be funny. It was, I don't know. She looked great. She looks. Miss Fame is, I think, the best makeup artist on the show, like that the show's ever had. One of the best. But everybody else does good to like great. Kenny's Little Richard is transformative, amazing. I think Pearl's Big Ant was one of the funniest things in the world and did not get enough credit by the show. I had a rough childhood. I wasn't thinking about Batman and Robin. With like, even Violet as Alyssa wasn't like bad. Like Violet, this will happen later. It'll happen with season 10. But a lot of take note of if they do the ball before Snatch Game, take note of the ball winner. And if it's a fashion queen, they tend to like to make them the winner of Snatch Game to show because of Aquaria. I'm not joking about that. But part of the problem with that is Aquaria in season 10, uncharacteristically from what we knew about her, had a fantastic, very funny Snatch Game that kind of blew people out of the water of like, oh, we didn't know that she had that in her. That's really funny. That's kind of amazing. And then they kept doing that. And it comes less and less as a surprise. But
I just, on that note, for 1 second, Aquaria, that led to Aquaria having a moderate acting career where she would go on to be in one of the most significant music videos for one of like the best songs.
It's like even weirder than that. They like, she's like kind of in the band, like the everything after that was like, hey, it's the Nox and Dragonette and Aquaria.
And Aquaria.
They did an AMA with Aquaria, but it was all about like their music. And I'm like, is Aquaria playing in the band now? It was very weird, but loved it. It made me very, very happy. Just the strangest thing.
But you're absolutely right, Jonah. It really did like explode what people thought about Aquaria.
Yes. And so like Violet really wasn't known as being like the funny queen, but it still was like a serviceable and passable. So like in my brain, like you have the people who did amazing. You had people like a little bit below who did great, and the people who did bad aren't unwatchable. I personally do not like when they're like unwatchably bad. The only one that I will counter myself with is I can watch Utica do Bob Ross because it's really bad.
It was bad. That was bad.
But Utica bobbing stuff in a way is like so charming.
Well, now we have a very different relationship with Utica too, so that helps.
Yeah, watching Utica
but,
a Project Runway finale, you know.
But even during the time, her roast was really bad. It's still really bad. Or the Bob Ross is not good. But it's like it is memorable. There are people who are bad that are not memorable.
Yes.
Oh yeah. TK, you have any thoughts on this one?
Really don't. I mean, there are people who are good. I mean, like I think Kennedy as Lil Richard was a turning point and a game changer. I mean, literally nobody had really done boy drag. And then that first Snatch Game, and then that became a lot more of an option, which is funny because 2 seasons earlier, Rue mercilessly mocked Alaska for doing very good boy drag for a role. So just funny how the show has evolved over time. But yeah, I mean, it's an incredible performance, as Jonah said. It's really one of the really best ones, and this overall is very even keeled, but to me in a way that's kind of boring. And so I don't have a lot of thoughts on it.
So I'm gonna kind of jump us forward in time for a moment. Season 15. I want to use this as sort of a contrast point for the episode we had tonight to discuss UK Season 7's Snatch Game, because the problem with Season 15's Snatch Game is not every girl is funny. The problem with Season 7's UK Snatch Game is not every girl remaining was funny. And you wind up in a position where you kind of have to make like some definitive conceptual choices. And I love season 15. It was my first live season. It was the season that I sort of came into my Drag Race fandom on, and I had a great time with it. But you really are asking people who are just beautiful and musically talented, and by just I mean everything but funny, or funny in this way, funny at this impression, funny at the thing they thought would work on screen. You're asking them to do a lot of heavy lifting early in the season. 2 Snatch Games. You know, I thought at the time when I started the show, wow, this is definitive. Every girl got to do their Snatch Game. But I now see that maybe that's not a good thing. Like, there are albums that when, 10 years later, the 5-6 songs that didn't make the album come out, I'm like, damn, I wish all of this was on the record. And then there are albums where I'm like, you do not need to listen to the expanded edition. It does not enhance anything. I believe that season 15 was the first time that I could comfortably point to a Snatch Game and say, I would have heavily edited this. And, you know, as someone who is very proud of the fact that he does a Lucy LaDuca impression, I am very excited to say that this is one of her wins, including mini challenges. And so, like, I love this Snatch Game ultimately, but the granularity of this Snatch Game reveals to me that asking incredibly talented people to do things that they are not necessarily incredibly talented at is maybe unfulfilling and unattractive. KEVO, I would love to know, because this was your first live Snatch Game. You were with me every step of the way. This was really a hand-in-hand experience. Where did you snatch upon this game?
You know, and I don't remember how many Snatch Games we had seen before we saw this one, so I can't even remember where this sat in my experience of understanding. But I mean, I understood Match Game. We'd already been to 2 live tapings of Match Game, and we're big fans of the 2010s and now into 2020s iteration. So like I got it to an extent, and even I found immediately part of it was that it's also just, it's always so overwhelming when there's too many girls in just one set. But this was like super-sized Snatch Game, so it was very sensory overload. And I think that was a part of it too. There were a lot of really amazing impressions. It was cool to get a Tim Gunn when that was something that we had already loved before watching Drag Race with these lovely gentlemen. We'd already loved Project Runway, so that was cool. But when you expand the number of, you know, home runs, you're also expanding the number of strikeouts. So pitting the twins together on the same one, I don't really feel worked out for them. I wonder in one of those weird 1950s doctor sort of ways, if we'd split the twins up and had them in separate rounds, if that would have affected the game at all. But,
this MK Ultra you're pitching is amazing.
Right? You know, not to get too, you know, scientific about it.
Rogan about
But,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
I also just want to say that it's fascinating to know that ultimately Mistress was just playing herself. Tori.
Now, if she did that impression, she would have just stormed off. That would have been part of the impression.
And would refuse to do the lip sync.
She would have been bolder.
This impression by Mistress, it becomes thinner the more that I watch it. The more it becomes very obvious that she completely forgot that she was Rosie O'Donnell about halfway through.
Well, isn't she also Abby Lee Miller at half?
Yeah,
of it?
she had also brought Abby Lee Miller, and like halfway through it, she forgets which one she actually is supposed to be, and it's unfortunate because I'm a Rosie O'Donnell like fan. I watched her talk show. I was a big fan.
I had the Rosie doll.
Yeah, we love. To me, Snatch Game is at its best when it's 6, 7, maybe 8 people. Season 6 being 10 people is one of the few that is kind of allowed above that range. This was the point when they had this so early on where I went, oh, the winner's not gonna be funny. And Sasha's perfectly passable in this. But in season 13, we were like 9 episodes in when we got Snatch Game. And I think they might have only done that because they finally figured out that Simone was funny. And so to me, it's very interesting where they place Snatch Game. And for this season in particular, it was very much like a big old red flag of we're not looking for a comedy queen this season. We're gonna see who goes and then we're gonna move on. And I feel like as we look into UK 7, while I appreciate and agree and have kind of and I'm going to agree more that when we ask so many different kinds of challenges of queens, we are going to have them amazing queens stumble before we get to what makes them amazing. You know, it could have very easily been that we lost page 3 before the musical. We could have very easily lost a Sally TM before a ball, that kind of stuff. And so it is very unfortunate to watch that kind of stuff and watch queens who are very good at other things just completely stumble and fall. But I think that just kind of comes back to if we're looking for for someone who can do everything, then you have to be able to do everything, and you have to accept that, or you have to or either you have to accept that the show might not showcase you at your best, and you just have to cross your fingers and hope to God. I don't know. I really want to. I think Drag Race is slowly moving to the point where we should be having different shows for different genres of drag queen. I think we have now said that drag is more than just a different shade of RuPaul, and so then we need to start saying, well, what if it wasn't just the RuPaul metric, the rubric Charles of it all?
I love that. And, somebody who has championed that idea since the beginning is TK. And how did you feel about the 10,000 girl march of season 15's Snatch Game?
Yeah, I mean, we know this wasn't successful. This didn't work. I know that we were also at a point where we had been through a lot of seasons where a particular queen or even a couple might have gone home early and then revealed their Snatch Game, and everybody goes, oh, I would have loved to have seen it. I would have loved to have seen that girl. And we got more and more sort of up in arms about this idea of like this poor girl who spent $30,000 and is now in debt in order to bring a collection, barely got to show anything and went home. And that does suck.
Yeah, in general, across the board.
Right. Just all around, that's a bummer situation. I hate that is happening. I wish there was like a lot more mentorship and guidance to like, can you actually afford this? Should you be doing this? We don't want anybody to bankrupt themselves, but we understand it's a reality of like, even if we weren't pressuring you to do it, it's the pressure of being on TV at this point on a show that has elevated drag so much. But maybe it's not your time and don't spend that money, whatever. So I get like, let's at least give everybody the chance. But I mean, NICO, to your point, like it's not good for anybody to put girls who aren't going to do well on this on stage. And like, just it's something that people have said about Sugar and Spice. I was much more eloquent about it a few weeks ago, but like they're accomplished queens. They're successful. Like they're huge names. In some ways, they have more viewers than the show does, but they're not good Drag Race contestants. And it wasn't fun to watch them. It was embarrassing for Spice. It wasn't good for anybody to have them on there. And it just created more noise in which nobody got to shine. I sort of feel like if Lucy and Sasha, and then on the other side, Kevo, if you can flash back to it so I can just remember who was there. Tim Gunn, even though I don't like Marsha, if Tim Gunn could have been there, I guess I'll give it to Amanda Lepore and Gorgina Ramsey. Like, if they could have all been together and we could have cut some of the chaff, what is that face? Who am I not saying?
Marsha is flawless.
Oh, the Tim Gunn was very good. I don't like Marsha.
That's fair.
Yeah, sorry.
She doesn't need you.
Marsha is flawless.
Oh, okay.
Marsha.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I'm
must
not
hate Cabaret.
Oh boy. So if you could have gotten the good queen, the queens that like were doing something onto one panel, this might have been a pretty good Snatch Game. It might have met that rubric that I was talking about, where, you have at least 3 queens who are doing well. People are able to bounce off each other. This is just so much noise. I also feel like maybe Jax was actually kind of funny. It's a really funny concept, and she had like maybe a funny couple moments. But yeah, I mean, like, it sucks that Amethyst was doing so badly, because I do think Amethyst has a lot of potential. I feel bad for Aura. I don't feel bad for Mistress, and Mistress was bad. But yeah, it's so funny that we talk about RuPaul's not everybody gets a participation trophy. She's so proud. And getting to Snatch Game is a bit of a trophy. It is a bit of okay, I survived this long. I knew this was coming. And if you're one of the greats, you are ready. And I say that even of queens who don't necessarily do well, you can see that they're ready. You can see that they were prepared to be here for this many episodes. And it is a bit of a trophy, and not everybody should get to be here. Even if that means that somebody who might have done really well on Snatch Game isn't here because they weren't going to do well in at least 3 challenges before that sent them home. Not necessarily everybody should get to be here, and doing these big panels and splitting it up, it was very unsuccessful. And I think it lost us a chance for the people that I really would have liked to have seen act against each other and on the same stage and on a quieter stage in a quieter episode. They didn't get that chance. So bummer.
So Jonah, like Queen Ari said, let loose. What did you think about season 15? And then we're going to bring it to UK season 7, and I can't wait. But Jonah, carry us out of the classic Drag Race Snatch Game era.
Let loose. I said let loose. Did I win? Did I win the challenge? Season 15 Snatch Game is not good by virtue of them wanting to do too many people. Snatch Game already has a problem with the way that they showcase it to us, that we actually don't really get to see a lot of performances if someone is safe. And there were a lot of safe people, so I feel like if we didn't get to see a lot of people's actual performances, there's some good character choices here. There are some really big moments of people trying to make some swings. Hold on, the way I have my setup, I can't see who's in the middle. Oh, when Lux did Amanda Lepore.
Yeah,
I fought with Trinity online about it.
Oh yeah, because I also I watched that one and I was like, Trinity is definitely there. She's there.
And Lux was also there.
Mm-hmm.
Both equal performances in my eyes. Even though I actually think, from what I hear about Amanda Lepore, she's much funnier than I guess people could make an impression of her about.
She's really funny. She's really mean.
Oh, be perfect for Snatch Game. You would think. But I like. Okay, here's what I will say. Lucy's Joan is one of the best singular performances a Snatch Game has had. Lucy is an incredible artist in that. The show obviously did everything it could to break Lucy, but Lucy had been doing drag for a decade at that point, since when she got on the show. So she knew what she was doing, and her Joan Rivers impression is a really good Joan Rivers impression too. I enjoy Jimbo's Joan Rivers impression. Jimbo's impression is serviced by Canada 1 being so bad around her and her being able to be Joan about it, which is great. This impression stands up on her own. So I cannot say more high praises of Miss Lucy LaDuca for the performance, but I don't like these such big casts because then even if someone doesn't do the best, we don't see it. I already have a problem with them only showing if you were safe. You can go back and watch. The way that they do Snatch Game now is if there's a safe queen, they get to answer one question. We see the response to one question, and that's it. And yes, some people might be good or bad, but to that I say, we literally don't know. They literally don't show us. Mm-hmm. And it makes me upset. So especially when we have 15, there was 15 girls, 13 people for Snatch Game. No.
It's too much. So, Tori, do you have something?
No, it was so much. And then I had gone through and watched seasons 2 through 15, and Snatch Game doesn't get better edited once they have more time in the episode. The amount of time given to Snatch Game is always the same. It does not stretch when they get the extra 40 minutes to themselves. It does not, it's just, it is what it is. They're like, we can only spend 10 minutes inside this or else everyone will hate us. And I do find that disappointing because I agree with Jonah. I would actually kind of prefer it if they just sort of were it's an hour and a half episode. We're spending half an hour in Snatch Game and you're going to watch everyone do at least 3 questions. And or at the very least, the first round of questions is it doesn't matter what you answer, even if you bomb it or if you do great, we're going to show the first question every time and we're going to show the last question every time.
Because they're there for 2 hours filming this, and then they cut it down to 15 minutes, and that I don't know, is a disservice. If someone doesn't do good, showing them not doing good. If someone does well, showing them doing well. I'd rather see someone's mid performance than not see them at all.
I agree. And that's even sort of where I feel weird about this season of UK's Drag Race. I have great affection for every girl remaining, but I did feel like you fell into one of two categories plus Taurus. There were the pretty girls who aren't traditionally funny. There were the funny girls who all kind of ran in the same sphere. And then there was Taurus who wanted to make a statement, and I loved Taurus's statement. And the fact that like people were like, it wasn't funny. Well, nobody ever said Snatch Game is meant to be funny. They said it's meant to be an impression that works. And like a person of color reclaiming blackface should not be looked at, you know? So like it should not be looked at with like, well, you didn't make me laugh. Okay, well, the blackface shouldn't have made you laugh in the first place. So let's talk about the fact that your entire island approved of this. And like, you know, there is something to that for me.
It was high concept satire. Like it was actually funny. I get that it didn't make Rue laugh. And, you know, I think it's important that another black judge spoke to Taurus and gave critique on that. That is a big thing for them to sort of have between them. But I think something that is missing from 90% of Snatch Games that actually can be a bigger thing and can be a powerful part of humor, even if it isn't, you know, stitch in your side funny, is satire. Few people use Snatch Game to make political statements, to do sort of darker comedy or other forms of comedy that aren't just make you laugh. And if we're talking about bringing originality to a particular challenge in the show that has been done dozens of times, I actually thought what Taylor's did was pretty cool, pretty important. You know, and ultimately she was safe, so it's fine. But I thought that there could have been a little more time spent on, you know, on the fact that it was actually pretty brave and pretty significant. It's, you know, like I said, she was safe, so at least it wasn't putting her in the bottom. But like there was sort of a lack of acknowledgement of that it was an interesting thing to do, where a lot of, you know, people can be successful in this and they can be unsuccessful, but oftentimes they're not interesting. So what are we going to do with that?
And I don't want to be unnecessarily critical. I did not think this Bonnie Tyler impression was any better than Elliot with 2 T's Rue McClanahan impression. It had 2 jokes for 5 minutes. I would have loved something that said, and Jim Steinem wrote my songs. I would have loved something that said, and my music video is famous for how creepy and predatory I was. But at the end of the day, this was a one-note impression of very surface level knowledge of an artist who is represented as a moron. And like, I do think it is very funny. I do think it is a very clever character. But I think Bonnie Tyler is more than a punchline. And I feel like when Rue knows who the person is, it matters a lot. And when Rue doesn't, she's glad to laugh at anyone. And that's fine. But Bonnie Tyler was a significant vocalist who did some extremely powerful work and had a real personality that wasn't just kind of blockheaded. And for me, while Bonnie Tyler had more jokes, it was not a better impression than Paige. And I can't say who Paige played because she's in the room with me now and she'll react. And I don't want to trigger her. So I'm going to just keep saying Paige played this robot.
Okay.
The virtual assistant.
The virtual assistant. So I think that this performance was incredibly funny. And I really do applaud the Bonnie Tyler performance, but it felt like Blue Dabba D levels of one note and occasionally went a note higher and we came right back down. And if this had been someone that RuPaul was intimately familiar with, if this had been an impression of a friend of hers who was not that famous from the musical scene, she would have been like, I don't know who you were playing at, because most people do think of LaToya as the dumb sister. And if it had been in a LaToya impression, she would have not been pleased. But because it's Bonnie Tyler, someone I don't believe she personally knew, she cackled. I loved this performance. I really did not appreciate this impression. So I am certainly not coming for the quality of what happened on the stage. I do believe the tops belonged in the top and the bottoms belonged in the bottom, despite being a huge Paige stan. This left me feeling a little unfulfilled. Kevo, I feel like you take the mask off when you're ready to talk, and I just want to kick it to you in case you've got thoughts on this performance.
Which one in particular?
Anybody from UK Drag Race Snatch Game.
You know, I get what you're saying a lot about Bonnie. I feel like this is no different than it's a great comedy performance, but no different from the Magician performance last week. And that's all well and good, but song titles are not a full impression. You know, I got super excited, obviously, as, you know, lingering Whovian, when Celexa decided to do a deep cut Doctor Who reference. But apart from this being a really intense prop, there weren't really a lot of references. I think even Jonah pointed out Moisturize Me wasn't even said once, and that's like a giant thing. You're not even the biggest Whovian, but you know enough and you've seen enough to know from this character that's kind of a key line. And you know, it's interesting choices all around. Jojo Siwa, I feel like, is another one that at a certain point started to have diminishing returns. It was funny at first and then kind of got exhausted. So there was a lot across the board. And yet I ultimately had really good feelings about Cher. How did everyone feel about Cher?
I think if you're going to do a Snatch Game character like Cher, after so many people have done it and done it amazingly, you're going to have to, I don't want to say scrape the bottom of the barrel, but you got to find your angle and you got to find your niche. This is hysterical. Again, she's doing a pretty good Cher impression, but she's just a chair. Like it is funny.
And I feel like it sort of speaks to what I feel was lacking from some of the other queens, where she had so many chair puns. She was ready with so many chair jokes.
She was like an antique store.
That's part of what sells it when you're doing these things, is having that angle and having stuff to go with on.
I'm going to only push back on that slightly insofar as I felt that the top three all suffered from the same thing, which was they were one incredibly funny note.
Okay.
All like, and it's and people get knocked down for one note performances. It was just chair jokes, and like she had a bunch of them and they were very funny, don't get me wrong, but like it was just that, like the subtle difference of that versus Chad's I don't know why you put me on these chicken shit gigs, but also getting in Wagon Wheel while 2C, but also I spread La Mer on my toast. Like it was a bunch of different notes of Cher that are all Cher's better than you, but varying facets of that. This was like, I was shocked at like how many Cher related jokes and furniture related jokes that she had, but it was all furniture related jokes. Jojo Siwa similarly like nailed it, very, very funny, but it was all the one joke about Jojo Siwa. And again, like she completely nailed it. The voice was really good. The teeth were insane. But there's other stuff going on with Jojo Siwa that you could do, including a lot of movement. Even just doing the elephant move would have changed the game for me.
The way that these two, the very bottom and the very top, could talk about me throwing a conniption that she didn't do any of the dance moves from.
Yeah.
She would make a karma joke.
Yeah.
It's still a good impression.
This is also the point where I have to wonder how many of like the catchphrases that we know just RuPaul doesn't know, and so there was no reaction to a really good moisturize me line or karma line, and RuPaul just went, anyway, next.
And Tori,
You
I
know
thank you
what?
for
That is-
teeing me up on my next rant, which I'll try and get through this one quickly. But I was thinking about the fact the other day that back in the day when I would listen to the What's the Tea podcast with RuPaul and Michelle, RuPaul used to have literally zero knowledge of musicals and hated them and was completely open about that. Now, to my mind and to my life and to how I grew up and then went to NYU, which has some of the most important musical theater programs in the country, it is unacceptable in the world that I grew up in to not have some amount of musical theater knowledge as a gay man. I could not surround myself with peers who were gay men of any sort of stature or culture and not, one, absorb it from them. So I was very lucky, but two, not take a little bit of a beating for not having like a little bit of basic knowledge. And I just remember there's this one thing where they're talking and Michelle makes a joke about Merrily and RuPaul just has no idea what that is. And I've never seen Merrily We Roll Along. There's a lot that I wouldn't get about the show, but I knew enough to get the joke that Michelle was making, and RuPaul did not. And there have been a lot of musical theater references that RuPaul never got. And there's nobody to stand up to RuPaul and say, that's appalling. But she can go up to anybody and say, how dare you not know Dark Lady? How dare you not know this? How dare you not know that? And I get it. I'd like for younger queens to have this knowledge because it's really cool and I want to share it with them. But I think
everybody under the age of 18 has a copy of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. They can know Dark Lady.
Yeah, well, but I get how it happens that they don't. And
We
I
do?
Are you under the age of 18?
I would love to share that with them, but at the end of the day, this is RuPaul's job, and the fact that she doesn't know Jaffa Cakes when going to the and also the lack of role play where she literally, her response was no. She didn't say, I get what she was saying, I don't know what Jaffa Cakes are, but rather than saying, I'm so silly, can you explain this to me? She just literally says to Katrin, no. And I felt that way about her knowledge of Bonnie Tyler, who again, I think of as a gay icon, but I think because she is not from America and is not from RuPaul's circles, Ru kind of didn't treat her like one. And anyway, it just annoys the shit out of me. It takes so much of the fun out of Snatch Game because the whole thing is make Ru laugh. But RuPaul is this eccentric who has this rubric for what is gay culture that only is RuPaul's stuff. She refuses to learn anything that isn't in her wheelhouse. And then everybody has to build their shit around that. That's my rant about RuPaul. And I think that's like everything I have to say about this Snatch Game.
How did you feel about this one, the little guy?
Oh man, I mean, I said it already. Like, it just bummed me out. This is like David Lynch.
Yeah,
I saw the
Yeah.
image of them all in a row, and I went, "Wow, there's someone specifically here for each of us to be really pissed about."
I
really
said to
this
TK, definitely maybe he would know I'm referring to Oasis' debut album, and like it hurts my heart that this is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, this and David Lynch are two where I'm like, if you had told me you were doing this, I would have for free spent hours teeing up every single joke you could ever make, because I think these two are such funny choices.
Brilliant.
And I would love to see somebody succeed at them. I've been laughing about how insane the Gallagher brothers are since 1997. I am continued to do it for another 20 years.
Yep.
I love David Lynch. I'm so passionate about his films, but I also think he's so funny and eccentric, and just hearing his voice alone as a Snatch Game impression would have been so funny and so fun. I was I was stoked when she said she was going to do it because
I
I
said
think
winner.
because I think Bones is excellent. But what I did say last week is I think Bones might not be excellent at this show. And I did think she was going home again because I think she's an Alyssa Edwards. I don't necessarily think she needs the show. She herself has said she's very successful. And I think, she's amazing. Like, I want to go see her act. But I don't think she's doing great on the show. This was a real, to me, I thought, nail in the coffin. Where I really did think Paige had a lot more to show, and I don't know, man. This was a bummer to me.
I don't want to be weird, but like Oasis, Blur, maybe Boyzone, Take That. Like there are certain bands that are like UK staples that even
a Damon
America
Albarn impression would be fucking amazing. You're absolutely right.
Like I just feel like there are certain bands that even though they are specifically UK bands, we know who they are. We understand what they're saying. And Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher, these are two people. Like Noel Gallagher was so significant in 1998. He had a song on the X-Files Fight the Future soundtrack. Like, we're not talking about nobodies. And like when Oasis debuted a new video on MTV, it literally shut the fucking network down for days. Like, there is something so important about understanding that they are your father's Beatles, not your grandfather's Beatles. They have the most expensive scalped tickets of all time. They are the best-selling touring act of this year. They are not just important, they are culturally a touchstone for the UK. And we here in America might shrug and go, oh, I guess they're from Shameless, because we don't understand what it means to be that thing there the way they wouldn't understand tons of bands from here. And so I'm sure they watch US Snatch Game and go, at some of our reality people. But like,
oh, sure.
Liam Gallagher was a moment to hit an echelon. This was the moment to, as TK, Tori, and Jonah pointed out, be an Aquaria, be a Violet, two queens that those of you who know me personally understand my relationship with. And like, I really, Lady Cassandra, too obscure. Sorry about it. Chair, so obscure it shouldn't work. Why did it work? Because the jokes were there. Liam Gallagher should have been on the surface. The jokes weren't there. The look is there. And that's why I feel there were three fashion queens here. Celexa, Bones, and Paige. There were three comedy queens here. Elle, Katrin, and Bonnie. And then there was Tyrus, who is the overall package. And they smartly made Tyrus safe because she was doing something different, and you can't really quantify something different. Every now and then something comes along and you go, just give it a special award. We're not going to give it a regular award. I don't know what to do. It's too weird. But it was important. But man, the obvious impressions did not land. The weird impressions didn't land for me, but I wouldn't change the winner because I was uncomfortable with the whole episode. And ultimately, I don't agree with who went home from the lip sync in particular. And I'm done with this episode. I think that every one of these girls is more talented than they came across in the final product. Every one of these girls is so special. They all belong in the finale, but this wasn't an episode that the production edited in a way that showed that. So, Tori, I would love to know what you think.
I actually kind of want to push back on the idea that someone born in 1999 would really know someone who had a really good peak in 1998. I think I know I'm a little odd. I grew up with primarily the oldie station, and so like I have a lot of gaps in my musical and pop culture knowledge. But I believe that for most people, like that, like 5 years before you're born and about 5 to 7 years after you're born is kind of a cultural dead zone for you, unless you have like a very like a teenager in the household at the same time.
My cousin Robbie.
And so,
Thank you.
yeah, like if you don't have that kind of person for you, your understanding of a lot of these people and like their cultural touchstone and what they even mean for older people within your own culture and country and gayness, it could kind of be up for grabs. And I think that we've seen that a little bit with some people who have picked like a Courtney Love or something like that, where it's like it seems old to them, but it's not quite old for RuPaul. Like, I know if I had shown up as a 20-something-year-old, yes, I too would have been like, yes, Madonna. That seems to be RuPaul's speaking range. And that would have been a horrific decision to make, because my understanding of Madonna starts with her American Pie cover. Like, that's where it starts. And so I think there's a little more to it. But I do agree that there are kind of like, we seem to be... Whereas UK6 had a bunch of different girls from all different kinds of tropes. We started off with a lot of different kinds of tropes, but we seem to be narrowing towards two. We seem to be narrowing back towards a camp queen and a fashion dancey queen. And I will say the lip sync between Paige and Bones was one of the most exciting. I don't know how this is going to end. Just edge of my couch lip syncs that I've seen in quite a while, to be honest. They both really, really brought their A game, and I think Bones. I honestly thought it would be a double Shantae, but we all make decisions. I don't know. I liked what everyone brought. I think we're coming down to Ketrin's Bonnie Tyler wasn't good enough to bypass what the other girls were doing, and the fact that Ketrin's runways haven't been as high polished as some of Elle's and some of Bonnie's.
Well, thank you for bringing up the other comedy queens. It's really important that you're comparing like to like. I think that's really great.
Yeah, because I think that's sort of where this is, and I think that's where at this point Ketrin's going to kind of struggle to break out of this pack, because now the other two have done so well so often that that's going to be where the judges think they want to put all of their little prize pennies into. This naughty list by Page 3 is spectacular. It's truly spectacular.
Fuck you for putting that up there. It is
putting up a Jonathan Bailey ding dong is just it's a whole lot of drag in a whole lot of places that is still sort of a deep cut. Like
James Franco.
James Franco,
Aaron Taylor Johnson,
the road. This is camp.
Is 11 out of 10.
I have to say, Page 3 has been much more enjoyable than I think I was expecting to find her, and I am very sad to see her go, because I do think that she had a lot to bring. I'm very glad that she got a win in the musical. I think she deserved to have a win before she went, but I think a lot of my feelings about Page 3 going was reflected in the cast's reaction to her being sashayed away. Like, I don't think anybody in that room believed it until the word left RuPaul's mouth. Like, it was just, no, that's not how this goes. Like, this is a powerhouse. This is someone who's going to be here. This is someone I'm going to have to beat in the finale. And it's just very fascinating. I could see Page 3 getting called in for a UK versus the world or a Canada real fast. I could
see her being the next Trixie. The next girl who got eliminated way too early comes back and dominates. Speaking of adorable and dominates, Jonah, how did you feel about this episode?
I thought this episode was fine. I didn't actually mind the shift in format. They all seemed so thrown off by this. This is really not any different than actual Snatch Game. No, the only difference is like you maybe don't have like 2 minutes to write something. Nothing about this is really that different. So then they were like, this format really threw me off. I wasn't expecting it. It's really not different. I do not know the difference between this and regular Snatch Game. I want to be honest with that.
They weren't even flirting with them like they do for Snatch Game of Love. Like the contestants weren't really flirting. So what were we doing?
Does anyone know what this is based on in the first place? I assume it's some British show that we don't know.
Sure.
Probably.
Anyway.
You're not wrong. We have no idea what this is about. So
100%
comment below what show this is
KEVO.
based off of.
Yeah.
Let us know. We want to hear your thoughts. What show is this based off of?
British at us.
British at us. Across the pond. This actually, it wasn't bad. But it wasn't like good. There are so many things like I can nitpick and be like this was bad. But I'll try to keep it. I want to keep it as positive as I can. I really enjoyed the chair performance. I think it's hysterical. I love silly, dumb humor like this. I will say congratulations to Bonnie for making me have the gayest conversation I've ever had, because please confirm the wrath and fury I had on the shoes she wore for her outfit this week, where I had a giant conniption because she wore silver shoes with a gold outfit.
Oh no!
That's fun.
I had to triple check to be like, are her shoes actually gold? Like I just couldn't really see. No, they're silver because they're reflecting the gold.
For straight men, that's wearing navy blue and black. That is just unacceptable.
I was so upset. because I like this look, but I was so upset of like, you could have just spray painted them gold. You have a silver ring on. That is your only other silver. You don't mix metals. Why are you doing this?
I can't wait to watch Willem Reader for that. That's gonna be fun.
That being said, I love her face. She's got a great face card, and I agree. I agree with Paige. The top three's outfits were nowhere near as good as the other outfits that were in the bottom. And the fact that Elle took so much like personal like dig at that when it was an opinion that was correct. I like it put Elle in a specific light of like, oh, you were young. You are 22. I remember being 22 and like that. That being said, I enjoyed her JoJo Siwa. It was very, but there were like things that I needed. Silver and gold. Eightful. Rotten. Jail. Maybe house arrest. Maybe. What
a handsome commenter.
I actually thought Celexa was going to be in the bottom. I appreciate her doing a big swing, but the whole point of Lady Cassandra in the episode is that she's the last human at this event, and the point is she's getting stuff wrong, like that, and that's like what Rose is supposed to like getting upset about. So like the idea of the character wasn't like, it's not like the funniest Doctor Who character. It was fine, but like there are certain, like Kevin pointed out, like maybe she did say it and they did cut out the moisturize me, but like that's the one thing people remember about it. Like have a spray bottle, have something.
Moisturize me, please.
Well, and I love you pointing out her getting pop culture wrong. There's the fact that she was elitist. There's the fact that she's very vain. And I just feel like a lot of that wasn't there. And so, yeah, that was tough.
And so like this is not a like, I also maybe get a little about Snatch Game performances that are, no, you wanted to do that fictional character, but because you can't for copyright reasons, you're saying you're the celebrity. I kind of get a little about that, because that feels, no, you're not doing Zoe Wanamaker, you're doing right. Lady Cassandra. And I'm sorry you can't do Lady Cassandra as your actual Snatch Game character, but then you didn't do the assignment. I was also maybe a little disappointed in Bones, and this I think this is happening before. Bones, when she does not feel comfortable in what the challenge is asking of her, always looks like a deer in headlights, and she just like kind of just gives up immediately. And it's a little disheartening because I think she's really talented. I think there's stuff there, but I don't like. There's something about this person who like. Maybe part of it is she's also just talked about a very big game as being the queen of Soho, I'm the queen of Soho. And then we see just like when she is thrown, she has no idea how to adapt. She like fully gave up before the challenge even started. She was in a bad headspace. I don't know if I genuinely don't know who Liam Gallagher is. So I'm going into this with this is my introduction.
I'm the
to Liam
worst
Gallagher.
daddy ever. I don't.
You have introduced me to so many things. One thing was going to fall through the cracks.
It should not have been Oasis, okay?
Yes,
but I've been Prodigy.
You're fine. You'll
Nail.
survive.
So, like,
he'll survive.
Count those as wins. And Tori Amos and Poe. I can go on and on.
You said Nine
I
Inch
think
Nails,
you're
Tori Amos,
even-
and Poe. I've done a good job.
You're even pointing to the difference between this and the Bonnie Tyler, where even if Bonnie Tyler wasn't getting Bonnie Tyler right, it was entertaining and it had a lot of going for it. Just doing this dry, non-responsive Liam Gallagher, there wasn't really much to laugh at, and that's tough.
No, she did have one kind of funny thing that I thought was funny when the host hit her button. At one point she said no homo, which is kind of funny.
Mhm.
But like she whispered it.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know what was going on. I think page 3's idea of Alexa, that works. But like when Katrin was like, Alexa, call Tina Turner. Tina, no! Like that whole part was funny, but I really wish you two can back me up on this. The first thing I said was she should have said Tina Burner.
You were correct, yes.
Like if you're playing Alexa, I think I would have done just repeating everything wrong, because that's one of the things that people's like talking devices get wrong, is that they mishear it, so they repeat back something wrong. That's what she should have just done, and I think that would have been funny. And I thought they were a lot harsher on Taylor than they really needed to be. I thought she had a pretty like stellar, like funny performance. I'm not familiar with the sitcom or like what the this actor doing this character. But I thought the performance was funny, and they were like, once you did the catchphrase, you was kind of over, and she did the catchphrase at the end. Like she saved it. So I thought they were a little bit harsher on her this week than warranted. Granted, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. I didn't think she was going to win, but she was safe, and that was what I wanted. But I actually thought it was going to be Celexa versus Bones. And I was really shocked that... I say really shocked, but we, the audience, might like Paige more, but it kind of felt like the judges didn't really vibe with Paige. It kind of felt like they just really weren't like getting what she was throwing down, and I think Paige, as a performer and contestant on Drag Race, has more potential than Bones. I'm not saying Bones peaked, but I feel like we're going to still get more stuff that Bones won't know how to handle, and I don't think she'll be able to shake out of it. This episode fully threw away, like, between these last two episodes, between Sally going home last week and Paige going home this week, I have genuinely no idea who will be in the top 4.
Oh.
I love that.
There's no rules anymore. The people we were focusing on as a narrative, as like these main characters from the first half of the season, left. They were just eliminated. So now who are we focusing on?
I love that, and I think that is the best note to go out on. I've had a great episode. We talked about every Snatch game we love. We have talked about, no, we didn't, but we talked about a number of Snatch games we love, and we said everything we love about those. We talked about this episode. I think we've had a great time with Snatch Game. One of the things I think is that Snatch Game is getting harder and harder to talk about because it has gone on for so long. It's become its own thing. It is its own drag race. I opened this episode with who would you Snatch Game? I would love to close this episode with what queen would you Snatch Game? And so I would love to start with Jonah. Jonah, tell us, where can we find you, and what girl would you do for Snatch Game?
You can find me online at Peak Jonah. Oh, who's a really good, like, I'm trying to think of like a queen that's like has enough to like is really funny. So it's such a good question, and it's a hard question. Rack my brain. What is in my third eye? Who would I do? I mean, I like doing the impression of Max as the season 4 winner, but it's not appropriate. We can't do that, so I can't say that.
I think you could do it. You could do Max as glaring needles and just say that it's just a disaster.
I can do that.
Yeah. So I love that. Tori, girl, and where we can find you.
You can find me online at smtori. That's Tori with an I. Tori is well aware of her limitations in life, so she's not going to say Bianca Del Rio.
Bless, I'm so jealous.
I think my wheelhouse is probably more in a. I think I could probably make Lavoie work. I think that's a big, bold character that can do a lot and feels right.
Oh my god, when we do the UK finale, would you please do Lavoie?
Oh no. Oh gosh. A red wig, a red dress. I'll work on it.
You can do that beautiful because you are that beautiful. You would just need to shift the beautiful to the side.
Yes.
Anyway, to move on to another girl that I'm obsessed with, KEVO. Who would be your girl, and where can we find you?
Can someone pick for me? Because I don't know who I think I'm too close to the situation. Does anyone have a suggestion?
I would love to see you. As
I don't
Ms.
even know. I haven't even thought about that.
I
You
think
as Ms.
KEVO would do better in a Derek Barry in a solid, like, I'm doing Britney because I do Britney, like,
Love it.
world.
Oh, I do love doing it. Everywhere you look, there's a hem. There's a hem here. There's a hem here. Everywhere you look is a hem. No one died at Stonewall. You know what? It's Derek. Derek has such good moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could probably rock that pretty well.
That's a great
And
answer.
if you have any other suggestions or just want to see me try, you can find me at KEVO Really, KEVO
TK, girl, and area.
You can find me on the socials at TK Accidental, and unequivocally, without a doubt, the girl I would do is Jocelyn Fox.
Stupid hot.
Not my cup of soup.
You guys can find me at NICO Action. That's NICOACTION with 5 wins. And if I did any girl, I would do Lucy LaDuca, and I would let loose. And you guys can find me at NICO Action, NICOACTION. You guys can find my music at NICO Action Music, NICOACTION MUSIC. If you guys love this show, please feel free to follow us on all of our feeds. That's X's for show, HTML, X's for comics, and more. If you guys want to do us a favor, like, comment, and subscribe, because your algorithm, we want to be in it. But if you guys want to do us another favor, please remember yourselves. Number 1, please be brave. Number 2, please evolve daily. And number 3, please stay safe. It is a crazy world out there, and we want to see who you are get to the next level. So until we're on that next level and you're on Snatch Game, have your character, be amazing, and we'll see ya.
Bye.